Okay, in this tutorial we are going to spawn enemies through the code. So the first thing we need to do is turn this enemy into a prefab, and we know that we can drag the enemy game object into the prefabs folder, and now we have an enemy prefab. And you can see that it's changed the way it looks up here. So we have one on the stage, if you will, so far. We could remove that later if we want, but we're going to leave that one there, and then through code we're going to pull more of these onto the stage. And right now we're just going to put them. We'll decide as we do this. So I'm going to do this all in the game script. Okay, so I'm going to double-click game script, and we're going to we need a game object for the enemy. And so we're going to say public game object, and we're going to say just call him an enemy object. How about that? And then in the update we're going to call one of those to appear on the screen. And so what I'm going to say, we need a couple of variables. So we know that to instantiate a prefab, let's get our projectile script, right? So when our projectile script crashes, we instantiate a prefab right here, right? So I'm going to borrow this code. I'm going to copy this code, and we're going to go ahead and two lines of code here. 2 lines of code. I'm going to copy both of these because the first line gives you the position, and then when you instantiate, you give him the position and then his rotation, and then that's going to be the name of the game object. So let's copy and paste this. So in update, if we did this in update, it would just keep spawning them, and it'd probably crash your game. But so we're going to say possession, this vector 3, we get a new variable, and we're going to say the x, we're just going to set it to 0. We're going to set everything to 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, and 0. And then we're going to instantiate right here. We're going to change the splash to enemy object. Okay, and then it's going to pass this variable right here. That's the x, y, and z coordinates. And then it's I'm not sure if this is going to blow things here or not. Here we go. Let's see. Control S to save it. And if we did this right, it's going to be really messy and just spawn a bunch of enemies continually right at the 0, 0, 0 coordinates. So let's take a look at this, and we're going to change this code in a second after we goof around with this. So when we hit in the game script object, that game script is attached to this object right here, right? And how about we set this to 0, 0, 0 anyways, just to keep things clean. And then so this enemy object here, we need to pull from the prefabs folder. We need to have our game script selected and drag the enemy into here. Let's see in the console if we throw any errors. When we hit play at 0, 0, 0, we should just see enemies appearing. And there they are. They're just stacking up. And they're just stacking up on top of each other. Okay, and so yeah, that's a little messy. So let's change that script file a little bit, and let's spawn them after a certain amount of time. Okay, so we need to create a time variable. And so we're gonna set this, we're gonna say public float, and we're gonna say time passed. So this is how much time has passed, and we're going to set it to 0, 0.0f for float. I misspelled public. Public float time pass, and then we're going to say how much time is needed. So we're going to say public float time needed. Okay, and it equals, let's say, for now, let's go, how about 3 seconds? Okay. Let's make it 2 so it happens a little faster when we test. Okay, so 2, and then put the semicolon. Okay, and then now down here we're going to say, we need to say time passed. We're going to increase it. And this is some built-in stuff for Unity here. We're going to say time dot, nope, and it needs to be capital time dot, and it, I don't like this completing thing. Let's go time, okay, now if I go back, dot delta time So that's going to keep counting by the built-in time system in Unity. And then if and only if time passed is greater than time needed, then we make this code happen. So I put 2 curly brackets there, and I'm going to copy paste this into this part here. Okay, so let's clean this up. So we say time passed, we're increasing it, and this is how you count floats according to time in Unity. And then if the time passed now, it keeps getting increased. If it gets greater than 2, then instantiate the enemy. Let's save this and test that out, see if it spawns one every 2 seconds. Okay. You can see the variables over here since we made them public. They're right there. Okay. Boom. There's an enemy and another enemy. Oh, and one other thing we needed to do. It's spawning them like, once it got past here, it's just spawning them like, because time pass is now greater than that. We need to reset time passed back down to 0. 0.0f. Okay? Now, let's try that again. So what had happened is time needed, or time passed got greater than needed, so then it just continually is spawning. So once we reset time passed back down to 0, it'll start the count back over. Okay? So there we have it. Go ahead and spawn those in there. And what we will next do in the next tutorial is we'll vary where it's located on the y coordinates and on the x to kind of give it a little bit of variance and make your game a little bit more fun to play. Okay, so go ahead, have fun figuring out that spawning code, and have fun.